This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, good morning and good evening, and welcome back after a long time.
Good morning, Imran.
Morning. So, how are everyone? Enjoyed your holiday or were practicing? Rest and enjoyment. I don't think so. I think you should have practiced everything. Okay, just give me a moment. I'll pull up a diagram. Okay, so we are going to today set up our project. It's important before we start cloud computing because we'll be working around this project only. We'll be deploying this project, automating the steps of the deployments, using cloud computing, different environments, high availability, auto scaling, VPC, all of that will be just rotating around this project only. So it's better we get and set up this project. So this, as I discussed previously, VProfile is the name of our project. It is written in Java, and we have seen its source code, and we know how to build the artifact now. Now that artifact has to be deployed on application server, which is going to be Tomcat. So that's the choice of our architects. So we used Tomcat for the deployment of our Java application. So Tomcat is a Java application service. It's going to host our application, which can be host our application on HTTP protocol, port 8080. And we will be, this is the architecture that we are, for high availability, we are going to have two minimum, but as we don't have that much resources on our computer to create all those VMs, so we are just going to use only one instance of it. So one Tomcat. We will also have nginx. Nginx is a web service just like Apache, but it is more used for routing or showing us the front pages, the, let's say, the login page and all. So here nginx will act like this. We are just going to access the nginx IP on port 80, and then it is going to redirect it to Tomcat on port 8080, 8080. So Tomcat is the application server, nginx is the web server. Then we also need to set up database. Let's come to database, MySQL database. So we are going to use MySQL database. Only one VM will create and we'll set up MySQL database. I already given you task previously to set up MySQL. Similar thing we'll do, except we are going to also add our schemas. So developer has given us some schema which is there in our source code. We have to put that schema, deploy that schema into our MySQL server. And we also have one more service here, memcache. Memcache is a caching service. Just like in our browser we have cache, we can also have cache for the databases. This is not the browser cache. That was just an example. Okay, so let's say a user is checking a particular profile, and all that information is going to be stored. The SQL information will be stored in MySQL server. So user access the profile, the application server will check in the database and return the information on the web page. Now if same information is accessed n number of times, such kind of information will be cached into the memcache. It's a service that will do caching. So if it is accessed regularly, it will not do the db dip. It will use that information. The query will be stored in the cache. So it will use that information from that cache. That's what memcache is for. So we're going to set up one VM and set up memcache on that. Then we have one more service which is called a queuing service or a broker, rabbitmq. There are other queuing services also, of course. RabbitMQ is one of the most famous queuing service. The purpose of queuing service is to queue all the requests and not let fail it. Let's say, for example, it's going for MySQL DB dip, and just an hypothetical example, MySQL can handle, let's say now, 10 requests. So from application we got 10 requests, it is already serving it, and we got 11th request. That next request will fail because MySQL is already busy, and we don't want user to see an error or a failed page, so that request can be queued. So it will not fail, it will be queued, and once the SQL is free, then it will send the another request, the next request. So not only for databases, not only for caching, RabbitMQ can be used for queuing between any two applications, two services. It's also called as broker. If the size of the data is too much, it is going to break it. So, like a broker, like an agent. So there are many queuing services. We are going to use RabbitMQ. So such kind of applications you may see in the real-time production environment. If you have a simple application and you have like few thousands of user, then you won't have queuing and caching and all. You may have just the database application server and web server, that's all, or sometimes just web server and database server. But if the application, if the users, if they're huge users, lots and lots of users, then you need to give better performance to the user. For example, Facebook, Twitter, millions of user, so there will be millions and trillions of requests going here and there. So it needs to be queued, it needs to be cached, all that thing needs to be done. We have one more service, Elasticsearch, and we are not going to deploy this service today because this needs minimum 2 GB of RAM. And if we bring up this VM or system, your system may hang. Elasticsearch service is an indexing service. Indexing, just like you have an index in a book. If you want to go to a certain page number, so you can see that in the index instead of going through the entire book. Similarly, indexing service, let's see an example. Let's open browser. Okay, so that's a Google search engine, right? So now let's say I'm trying to search something, AWS. So if you remember, previously we used to type and then we used to hit enter, and then it used to give us the result. But now if you see, as I'm typing, it's also showing some result over here. This is coming from the index. Similarly, when you do in Facebook, you do your friend search. That time, yeah, as soon as you start typing their name, it will start showing you the list. That information is coming from the index. It will already index. So indexing will improve the performance of search. So like that, we have all these services over here. And if you are working on huge application, you will see like that a number of multiple backend services, multiple RabbitMQ, multiple indexing, multiple caching, and there are also notification services. So today we are going to create VMs to deploy nginx, tomcat, rabbitmq, memcache, and mysql. Yes, Elasticsearch and elk will do the similar job. So I have a Vagrant file. It's very simple. We have one nginx, one tomcat, one rabbitmq, one memcache, and one MySQL. And we are giving private IP. We are also giving the host name. All the operating systems are CentOS 7 except nginx. So we are putting one more operating system into the mix. So I've already brought up my VMs. And just a moment. Yeah, of course, I'll give you that Vagrant file, man. Okay, so I have the document that will help you set up the entire application. It's a requirement. Do it because later when we use other services in cloud, you would be able to understand if I'm setting RDS, what I'm doing over there. If you know how we have set up MySQL locally on the VM, you'd be able to understand that. Same for load balancers, nginx, and all the services. It's not going into edit mode. Okay. So either you get this detail how to set up your application in the project from architects or from developers, or you get all the information from them and you set up the document. You should have a document in your project of how to set up your entire architecture manually. Either you set it up or you get it from the developer or from the architects. In any case, you should have this. You should be knowing how to set up your entire application manually. Okay, and then only go for the automation and do other thing. This is the first thing that you should do. Set it up locally, get all the documentation. If the documentations are weak, improvise it, make it better, and keep it in your arsenal always. Okay, so let's start with MySQL first. No, you did not miss any class. Okay, so it is CentOS 7. So let's get started. Okay, so yum install epel-release. This is a package that will set up a EPL repository. It is especially for CentOS. If you have RHEL, you will have the RHEL satellite repository setup, so you don't need to do EPL release. If it's Ubuntu, then it comes in the Ubuntu repository itself. This is especially for CentOS 7 EPL release. Okay, so that's done. So next we are going to install MySQL. Now CentOS 7 we have MariaDB-server. This is the branch of MySQL. After the acquisition of MySQL by Oracle, the open source community created another branch for MySQL, which is called as MariaDB. It's same as MySQL. Okay, that doesn't look good. Let's search for MySQL. MariaDB server was present over there. What is saying it's not? It's just MariaDB. You're unable to see the screen? Are you seeing the screen?
Only the document.
Oh, just a moment. You're seeing it now?
Yes.
Okay. It's there, MariaDB-server. Okay, yes for that. So this is going to take some time. By the time this is happening, let's open up rabbitmq because we have to run yum update on that. Oh, spelling mistake. So there is a requirement we need to run yum update. Yum update will update all the packages to the latest version. It's similar to apt upgrade in Ubuntu. Apt update is different. Apt update will just update the repository. Yum update in CentOS will install all the updated packages. It will go check all your packages. If you have the latest updated softwares available, it will update that. So this may work sometimes and sometimes it may not work. It may upgrade some packages which may have some bugs also. Okay, so it's not what you can say so much dependable option. Sometimes you need to update single packages that may take a very long time. So as this is going, let's continue with MySQL service is installed. So let's start the service. Systemctl start MariaDB. Okay, spelling mistake. Okay, next thing is we enable the services. So at the boot time, the MariaDB service comes up. Okay, now we are going to run a command mysql secure installation. This command, when you execute, it's going to ask you some series of questions which will secure your database. For example, setting up the password, root password. So let's set up a password. Oh, it's asking for current password. So we have not set any password. So just hit enter there. Set password, yes. Remove anonymous user, yes. We should remove the anonymous users. Disallow root login remotely, no. So most of the time it should be disabled. You should have a separate user. We are going to have a separate user also. So most of the time allow, for security reason, allow root login remotely. Remove test base databases, yes. Reload privileges, yes. Okay, that is done. Now let's log into MySQL. So log in with the password that you have set, and we're going to create a database with the name of accounts. That's the requirement. So our application will look for this database with this name. Okay, next I'm going to create a user. Let me copy that. So that's how you create user in MySQL. Create user, username. So we're going to use the user as admin. At percent means from anywhere. Sometimes you give locally if you want only local access. If you want a remote access, like Tomcat is going to access MySQL. So we have to better give this one. Just remember it. Identified by, this is the password. So let's set the password as admin123. That's a very weak password. Better select some complicated password. And let's grant privilege to this user on everything, on every table, to the admin user from remotely identified by, again, the password. Okay, we're done. We're going to say flush. Just a moment. Flush privilege. Okay, which will reload everything. Good. Okay, so database is set up, a user is set up. Remember these steps. I told you to practice these steps. We're going to automate also later these steps. Now we're going to clone our repository because we have a schema which we are going to put over here. So I'm going to clone my repository vp-rem branch. Okay, -b, and you can give the branch name, so it will only clone that particular branch. Uh-oh, we need to install it. So this will be much faster on the cloud. This depends on our VM's RAM, network speed, so many factors. VMs are very small. Okay, let's clone the repository. Okay, so we have the repository. In this, you have to go to source, oops, main, resources. In here have the SQL file. Okay, this is what we have to deploy. So that's the command mysql-u, give the username, give the database name, accounts, and input redirection, and the SQL file path. If you ask the password, okay, that's done. Let's log in and check. Show databases, accounts. That's our database. You have to select that database, accounts. This is a verification. Okay, all right. So show tables. Okay, so you deployed the schema. We're good. Let's quit. So SQL is set up. Now we have to do one thing. We have to test whether we are able to log into our database from Tomcat, because Tomcat is going to access this database. So let's log out from here and let's log into Tomcat. So last part of your exercise in SQL was set up remote login. So let's test it. MySQL -h. Okay, just a moment. Let's get the IP address. So that's the IP address. -u, username, -p. Okay, MySQL is not installed here. You have to install MySQL. That's the client. I guess it's MySQL-client. So that will happen first time when you do yum install. It's going to first check all the repository, so that will take little time. Okay, the package name is MariaDB here. You see yum update 304 packages it is updating. It's going to take some time. Okay, that's done. Let's log in now. So this will test. We are able to remotely log in. Yes. Use accounts. Show tables. Okay, good. So we are able to remotely log in with the admin user, and that's the user we are going to use. That user is able to select the database and show the tables. It's also able to make the changes also, because we have given full privilege. Good. Now next thing is, this is done. That's going to take some time. Okay, so we are on Tomcat, so let's set up Tomcat now. So install EPL release repository. Okay, let's run yum install Tomcat. Now let's search for the Tomcat package. And if you don't find the package here, we can download it and extract it. That's another way, which we'll see. Tomcat is available. What version is this? 3. This is older version. Okay. First, let's search for JDK and install it. We are also going to install Maven here because we have to build the artifact. You can have a separate build server, build VM, or if you already done that, already have a build VM, you already have the artifact, you can use that and copy it over here. I'm going to install that package. So yum install. So you don't need to install JDK, you can go with JRE also, but we are going to install Maven here. So it is going to need JDK, so we're installing JDK 8. That's the dependency 8. Just a moment. Just give me a moment. I am going to free some disk space. I'm running low on the disk space. Yeah, give me a moment. I have unshared my screen. I'm running low on disk space. I'm cleaning it. Okay, I'm able to free some space, but I don't think that's going to work out. So I'm installing Maven after JDK on Tomcat. We're going to clone our repository because we have to build the artifact. So I'm going to install Git. Okay, now let's clone the repository. Remember, you have to use vp-rem branch. Okay, don't use master branch. If you're cloning the entire repository without specifying the branch name, then change it, change the branch, git checkout branch name, and then we are going to build the artifact. So as you see, all this is going to put all your skills, whatever you learned so far, to test. MVN install. The specific reason, because developer told us to do that. Okay, that's the reason we are using vp-rem branch, not master branch. Master branch is old branch. We have some updated things in vp-rem and also some bug fixes also. The time the code was created, there was so many change that happened on the source code. So many bugs came in, it stops working, then we have to go to the developer, we have to get it fixed. Like that, so many things happens. So similar kind of things you'll have in the real time also. I have run yum update, it may update some package that may not work with our source code. So either you change the package or you change the source code. So like that, there'll be so many ups and downs going on in your project, and you have to deal with that. So by the time this is happening, let's run through the document once again. So MySQL we have set up, we have tested the remote login. Memcache we will set up. So memcache setup is very simple. EPL release, install the repository, install memcache, start the service, enable the service. That's all. And we have to run this command so that it is going to listen on port 11211. Okay. Then in rabbitmq installation is we have a lot of dependencies in rabbitmq. SOCAT, Erlang, and of course wget is just to download. Once that dependency is installed, we are going to download an RPM for rabbitmq, that single package installation, because it's not available in the repository this particular version. An older version is available, so we are not going to do yum install rabbitmq. We'll just say download this RPM. We download, and with RPM we'll import some key, and then we'll run RPM hyphen uvh, or you can run ivh also, which will install this rabbitmq RPM. Then we start the rabbitmq service, enable it, and in this file, the configuration file for rabbitmq, you have to put this content. This has again come from the developer. And rabbitmq also we have users, so you have to add user in rabbitmq. So that's the command. So we're using username as test and password also as test. There are some roles or tags they say in rabbitmq. Administrator, so it will give test user administrator privilege if we run this command. Then we restart rabbitmq. Rabbitmq is set up. Currently we are doing tomcat installation, so we're not going to do yum install tomcat. We're going to download the tomcat package, we're going to extract it and run it, and then we're going to copy our artifact to this particular path. This is the document root directory for tomcat. Like in Apache we have seen var www.html. Here it's going to be the tomcat home directory where you have set up the tomcat. Under that you have web apps directory. There we are going to set up the artifact with the name root.var. It's still building our package. And then we have a file called application.properties file. I'm going to run you through this file. This is the file that will glue everything together. Let's open the source code. So go to vp-rem branch. So when you deploy the artifact, in the artifact we'll have this file, application.properties file. This is the most important file for us because this is what we'll keep updating regularly. You can say this is the configuration file of our application that connects Tomcat to other services. Like for database, JDBC URL. So JDBC is you can say it's a driver used to connect to Tomcat, to MySQL from Tomcat. So we specify the URL there. We give the IP address of Tomcat or the host name, the database name, accounts. See, we have set up the database with this name, username, and the password. So we have the username as admin and password we have set up admin123. So when Tomcat wants to connect to database, this file will provide the information. Then for memcache, you give the memcache IP there, and the port number. If you're using a different port, then you specify that port. And we have two entries for memcache here. That's for memcache 1. This is for the second memcache. Then for rabbitmq, you give the IP of rabbitmq and you give the port number. So that's the default port for rabbitmq 5672. Elasticsearch we are skipping, so we are not going to give anything over here. We're just going to keep it as it is. If we have set up Elasticsearch, then we give the Elasticsearch information here. So this file will connect Tomcat to all the backend services: RabbitMQ, Memcache, MySQL, Elasticsearch. Nginx will have its own configuration file which will route the request to Tomcat. Okay, that we'll see. So this is what it says: update application.properties file. Once we have deployed our artifact, we will do that. Okay, I guess it's almost done. And the last one is the nginx. So we are going to, okay, so it's not going to be the yum command. There we are going to have apt command because it's on Ubuntu operating system. So we're going to install nginx, apt install nginx. Then we're going to remove a default website of nginx, and we're going to create a configuration file with this name, Wipro app. That's the path, is our website configuration file. And in that we'll put this data. This data simply says server, what's the backend server. So we're going to give the Tomcat IP and its port. If we have multiple, we give multiple here. And it's going to listen on port 80. That's the nginx default port. So when we access nginx on port 80, it is going to forward the request on the Tomcat on port 8080. And our configuration will be done. We have to create a link. We have to make sure nginx is up and running and enabled. rabbitmq yum update is done. Let's install EPL release. Okay, it's running very low. I'm running very low. Actually, there's so much of data I can't delete. There are a lot of recorded videos also. So I have to really go through it and delete the file that I really don't need. Okay, EPL release is installed. Yum install socat. So you may seeing like a lot of command flying here and there, but that's what you have to do. And you have to get hold of this manual setup, not only in the class, but in real time also, project also. Okay, you can't automate something that you have never done manually. That's not possible. So whatever you're going to automate, you have to first know how to do it manually. In your project also, you have to set up such kind of document that can be used by everyone. If it's not there, you have to set it up. So it will be helpful for you and for your entire team. Okay, so cat is installed. Let's go for Erlang. Okay, it says building the artifact. Okay, Tomcat. Here we have built the artifact. Okay, artifact is ready. It's time to set up Tomcat. So we'll say download Tomcat. So if you run yum update on Tomcat, you can directly install Tomcat 8. But that is going to take a very long time. So I'm going to just download the package. So we are going to use Tomcat 8, okay? And 8.5.37 has some issues. There are some bugs. The older version we are going to deploy later. The bug is it's very, very slow with our software, with our application. So let's go to the directory usr local. You know what? Let's go to var lib. Yeah, and let's download it. Oh, okay, that's done. Let's download. So latest version of Tomcat will not be available in the repository. So if you want the latest version of Tomcat, you can't do yum install or apt install. It will give you older version. So that's the better way actually. So we have to extract the package type -x/vf. So don't do it on varlib directory. It's in the document that's I'm showing you. Do it in usr local directory because you don't want to mess up with some existing file. So that's the directory that it created, and I'm going to rename that with just Tomcat. Let's go to Tomcat directory, and in the bin directory you have a script startup.sh. So you have to execute that script. It's a shell script. bin/startup.sh. You can do it like this, or you can give the absolute path also. Okay, so it should be up and running now. So let's see its default page. :8080. So that's the port for Tomcat. Okay, it's yet not come up. Let's wait for some time. There is a log file, okay, here, logs in the logs directory, catalina.out. So let's tail that, tail-f catalina.out. If there is any error, we will see it here. Okay, you should see server started in so and so seconds. Yeah, server startup in so and so milliseconds. That means everything has come up properly. Let's refresh it. What happened? That's not supposed to happen. Yeah, okay. Port is always open, man. When you start the service, the port will be open. It's only firewall that will block it. Okay, anyways, Tomcat is up. Okay, so that's the default page of Tomcat root. So we're going to replace that with our artifact. So let's go to our vProfile directory, Tomcat. So we have the artifact. We're going to deploy that artifact to var lib tomcat web apps in this directory. So this is the default application root, what we are seeing right now here. So I'm going to remove that one, or I'll take its backup. Let's move it to temp directory for now. And let's copy your vprofile.var. Okay, now it's time to restart Tomcat once you have done the deployment. Shutdown.sh script will shut down, stop the Tomcat service. So when I have downloaded it like this, like a tarball, I don't have a systemctl or the service command to start or stop the service, but we can create the systemctl file and also for the service command also. I'll show you that later, but as of now, we'll just do it like this. Okay, now let's do ls. Okay, so I have deployed the artifact with the name of root.var. When I start the Tomcat, it will extract it and create the directory. Okay, or you can have with the same name vprofile-v1.var. Then when it's extract, it's going to have the directory with that name, and then you have to access the application like that, slash and the directory name. Okay, now also we have, let's go to var lib tomcat web apps. Okay, now in our application, that's the directory name, web.inf classes, and here we have the application.properties file. Okay, this is what you have to update for the database information. So here you should have the IP of MySQL. So MySQL IP, that you can confirm that. You can go to the system and check the IP. Port number is good. Database accounts, username we have admin, and the password admin123. Okay, now we have to restart Tomcat. Now the C system is under really heavy load. It's not working. Okay. Whenever you deploy the application and start the service, you better check the logs. As of now, Tomcat is connected only to the database service, but it will throw some error for connecting to other services because have not brought the other services yet and we have not mentioned the details. So it may show you some error for message queue, for ActiveMQ, okay, like that. So let's wait for it to come up. RabbitMQ. Okay, we'll do the other thing tomorrow because system is really going to crack now. Showing some error. Okay, it's saying fail to initialize component. I think it's because of the RAM size. I have to increase the RAM size. You have to go minimum 1 GB for the Tomcat, which we can't do now. So what I will do is I will stop the session for today. I will do all these steps wherever if I find any issues and all, I'll note down into the document. And I'm going to send you this document today, the Vagrant file, bring up the VM and start configuring it. Okay. Tomorrow, no, I mean, today I will set it up. Tomorrow, I'll just show you the entire application. We'll go through it once again, and we are going to start cloud computing from tomorrow. I want you to create a free tier account with AWS today, because tomorrow we're going to start with AWS. You should be able to log in and check. Okay, setting up free tier account in AWS is easy. Just say AWS free tier account. So create free tier account. It will ask your username, password, email address, phone number. So you have to fill all that detail, and there will be verification for your phone, for your email address. Once the verification is done, you have to also put your card details over here. Okay, don't worry, no money will get deducted. Yeah, Vishal, just give me a moment. So add the card details, no money will get deducted. There will be a 1 rupee verification that will happen on your card, and there is no automatic deduction from your card. So do not worry, whatever the bill comes, if you have did some mistake, if any bill comes, we can work it out. Okay, but we are going to use the free tier. So most part of it, we are not going to get any bills, but at the end, when we have some advanced sections for VPC and all, in that places you'll have some few rupees of bill. It's going to be very minimum. So do not worry about the amount or the charges and all. Just set up the free tier account, make sure it's enabled, and because tomorrow we are going to use this one. All right, so two things you have to do. You have to set up the project and set up the free tier account on AWS. All right. Okay then. So let's finish this tomorrow. All right. I'll see you then tomorrow. Till then, take care. Bye bye, and practice all these things. Yes, Vishal. What is that? Yeah, your email ID is not added. Where? Let me just confirm that once. Can you put your full name? Okay, fine. I'll pass on that to my team. They'll do it. Okay, don't worry. Just doing it right away. I'm just taking the picture and sending it to my team. Okay. If your email ID is already added, or if there is any mismatch, anything, they'll give you a call. Let's work it out. Okay, I've sent them. They'll respond in some time. Okay, don't worry. All right. Bye bye.